G'day guys, you're back with Miracle Max. Today in the workshop we have a VZ Commodore 2006 model, I believe, with a V6 engine in it. It's a no start condition. They've towed it here about 60 odd kilometres away to bring it into the workshop so that I can hopefully get it up and running. What's wrong with it? Let's find out together. So the customer has filled me in a little bit with what he's done so far, including replacing the battery and replacing the starter relay as well. It's made no difference whatsoever. He has stated that when he goes to start it, there's just a clicking noise. That is a bit of a clue. Let me show you the diagnostic path that I'm going to take. So, not to be nasty or anything, but you never take someone else's work as gospel. Always check it for yourself. So remember, he said that there was a clicking noise when he went to start it. Let's see if we can reproduce that. Okay, well I can confirm that. Next thing we need to do is have a look at the starter motor relay. According to the fuse cover, it's this guy here, starter relay. So that's that fella right there. How's that going to help us? A relay is made up of two circuits, one to control it, which is done from the ignition key that way, and then there's power going down to the starter motor that way. Once we control it, we close the switch. That gives battery power straight down to the starter motor itself. So let's have a look at the control side of things first. I'm just going to remove my relay. Don't get caught by these relays, they're a little bit tricksy, and normally this 30 and 86 are switched around. 30 is usually here and 86 is over there, but good old Bosch, they've given us something to nightmare about, and 86 is here, so please pay attention to that. I'm just going to use an LED test light just to prove that there's control there between pin 86 and pin 85. Hopefully you guys can see that. We should see a little LED light up here when I turn the ignition on. Go to the start position and you can see that, can't you, quite clearly. It's timed, there it goes. So obviously the relay's being controlled, but is there power getting down to the starter motor? Remember, pin number 30 and pin number 87, they're basically a switch. Push them together and we'll get power down at the starter motor. I can bypass the relay quite easily. Let me show you. I'm just going to leave these two hooked up at the moment so that I don't get confused. So at this point, all I'm going to do is bridge pin number 30 and pin number 87, and that should power up my starter motor down there. Let's give that a try, but also notice what happens when I complete the circuit. All right, have a look here. And have a listen, of course. See that big blue spark? Okay, the big blue spark indicates to me that there's a fair bit of current going through there. Let's hook up the oscilloscope and see actually how much current is being drawn simply by pulling in the starter motor. We're not even rotating the motor at this point in time. Okay, I've got my current clamp. I've got a large current clamp. I've got a 2000 amp current clamp on there at the moment because I wasn't sure how much current is being drawn. I've got it set up to, what's that, 50 amps at the moment, and I'm just going to hook that over that wire again as I did before. You can see my current clamp here, and I'm just going to hook it around that wire there, and then I'm going to touch that again. So let's have a look at what the picoscope is telling us. We'll just put that fella over there. Doesn't matter if it goes upside down. Okay, have a look at that. That's a fair amount of current being drawn, isn't it? Let's just stop that for half a sec. And where are we? Stop, stop, stop. And let's just go back through our waveforms and see if we can capture that event there when we started or attempted to start the engine. Okay, have a look at that. That's a fair old amount of current being drawn there. Now let's scroll down there a little bit. We've got 36 amps just pulling in that solenoid. That's a fair amount of current. So if the starter motor is mechanically had it, it's going to draw a lot of current, of course, and we're seeing that in this side of the circuit as well. So we need to head downstairs, have a look at the starter motor itself, and do perhaps a voltage drop test. That might be a good idea. At the moment I'm doing a voltage drop test just on the negative side of the battery to make sure that there's a good connection between my negative side of the battery and the engine itself. Now I've got one side of my multimeter here, I'm putting it on volts, DC volts, as hopefully you can see. I'll put that there for you. Can you see? Yeah, maybe a little bit. And I've also got it the other side onto my alternator. And of course we shouldn't see any voltage drop. Should be, let's see, about 50 millivolts, if not less. So I'm going to crank it now and see what we get on there. Okay, we're getting within the 40 range, which is okay at this point. So I'm going to say that the earth ground cable to the engine is okay. That's not the reason that we're getting this clicking sound. I believe I need to stick it on the quick jacks and have a peek underneath. Okay, I'm going to use my Mini-Me camera at the moment. I can't even see it, so I hope I'm pointing in the right direction. What I'm going to check is this guy over here, if I can get my arm up there. This one here comes straight from the battery. So the one over that side, where am I? Not this fella here, but the one on the other side. This cable, yes, this cable here, I'm going to connect my multimeter to and see if there's a voltage drop from this cable back to the battery. So now we'll see if there's a voltage drop on the positive side of the starting system. That wire that I showed you going down to the starter motor, that goes directly from the battery cable right over there down to the starter motor on one side of the starter solenoid. So let's turn on the ignition and see what sort of voltage drop we get there. Okay, it's clicked in. We've got, what's that, 5 millivolts. There's no problem there whatsoever. But I suspect that there might be a huge voltage drop on the other side. So between the solenoid, there'll be two contacts. There'll be a contact bar going across like that. And can't do it, Max, can't do it. Just imagine these pliers are the two contact points. This point over here comes from the battery cable, and this point over here goes to the starter motor itself to turn the starter motor over. That clicking that you're hearing is a bar that goes across the solenoid like that and shorts those 2 points out. Now if I put a connection here and a connection here, and there's a huge voltage drop across there, we're going to see it on our multimeter right here. So that's my next test, between those 2 points. One side of the multimeter here, the other side there. I believe we'll find a huge voltage drop. So we're going to go to the start position now. That voltage difference should disappear, but let's see what we end up with. Okay, 10.8 volts. Yep, there's your problem, lady. Yeah, so we're dropping across there. I'm sure that I could supply 12 volts to the starter and get it to turn over. It just won't pull in. With that clear evidence right in front of me, I feel confident to go ahead and replace the starter. I'll ring the customer, let them know what they're up for, and get the go ahead and replace the starter. Okay, look, it's too squishy in here, guys, to show you everything that I'm going to do. Basically, I've got to undo this wire here, the two wires off of here, that goes down to my motor itself, and the other one up the top here is the one that goes from my battery cable. Then I've got 2 bolts, one here and one down here. So fingers crossed it won't be too hard, but I can't bring you along for the ride because it's just too damn squishy, guys. But anyway, I'll show you afterwards. Another thing that I've done just to complete my diagnosis is to make sure that the engine isn't seized. You know, that can happen, of course. It won't be in this case, but yep, no problems with the motor there. So we can change that starter motor with full confidence that we've got it diagnosed correctly. Okay, got the beast out. It was a bit of wiggly jigglage involved. Come through here, past the catalytic converter on this side, and just squeeze it past here. I thought I might have to drop the rack a little bit, but no, it just came out through here. So new one should go in like that, and I'll bolt it into place. Okay, it wasn't too hard to fit. Just those couple of bolts holding it in, a couple of wires, and job's done. There is one other thing that I need to do that I didn't show you before. I pulled off a heat shield. It goes on the top there, and it gets bolted onto the top of the starter motor there with a little Torx bit, I believe it is, or a Torx screw. So I can pop that on next, and we're ready to test it. And now with that heat shield in place, it's ready for the ultimate test. Okay, let's reconnect the battery and see if it starts. Beautiful. Let's try that a few times. So that really wasn't overly difficult in the grand scheme of things. A few little tests to confirm that the starter motor was faulty. Not a big job to actually replace it once you get that little heat shield out the road. So the customer will be happy to receive his vehicle back after being towed 60 odd kilometres into the workshop. So I hope you got something from the video today, guys, and if you did and you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do so. Give it a like, feel free to comment down below. You can catch up with us on Facebook and Instagram as well, and of course don't forget about that notification bell. You don't want to miss any future videos. So until next time, guys, this is Miracle Max signing off. I will catch you later.